Okay, everybody, day 3 of scooter rebuild. This is the rear end of the scooter. This is a bit of a hassle to get off. As I was saying before, this nut here comes loose, and this here attaches to the spring, which attaches to the frame. Oh, that nut, yeah, okay, so this is what it will look like when you get that end completely out. So that nut goes into there that I was just showing you. And that bolt connects to this part here. There's a hole here and one right there. That large bolt connects to only 2 connection points for that. So we're going to do a pan of this now, and I took the carburetor and I put it into this. I wanted to show you guys you cannot just fit this into any which way you want, because when you look at this part right here, those grooves is exactly how this carburetor should be standing, okay? Now, I went and researched online. This is the correct carburetor for this because I've found extensively the paperwork for this. It's not bad. I like it. I will go through that video I already did. But this tube is for the oil reservoir, which goes... this connects to the carburetor right there. Yeah. This is the throttle, as I was talking about the choke. The brake cable connects to this. You unwind the nut from here and it comes out completely. I'm going to show you that right now. Right there. Okay, that's the brake cable assembly which connects to the back. Okay, so I got these nuts sitting in a CLR bath right there. They will come off too. This part will come off. I had to disconnect these wires. I took a picture of these wires before I disconnected them. Everything here is going to be washed up nice and neat. This will be a complete total engine teardown and rebuild. Everything will come apart. So what I'm going to do is work on this part, then I'm going to see what's inside it. So let me get on that. So I got the tire off, as you can see, and I had one problem nut, which is this one right here. Now these are all crosshairs, but somebody had that dug out so bad that I could not get it out. So I had to resort to putting a flathead groove into there, and when I torqued it with this heavy-duty screwdriver, then I was able to get it out. So I'm going to take this out for you guys to look at the hack job that I did. A lot of you would have done the same thing with a Dremel, or maybe you would have got a screw out from Canadian Tire, but this is it. See that? It was crosshead before, but now it's a flathead. I'm going to replace this, and this one's garbage, but now all the metal, or the screws, have to take out, so this can now come out. I just got to clean up my mess here so that I can do that. Okay, so as I was just about to pop this off, I was wondering why it wasn't coming loose, and then I found another friggin' problem. So this one here too is another garbage nut, which I just took the frickin' Dremel to, and it looks like whoever tried to do this before had the exact same problem. They may not have had a Dremel like I did, but it looks like they worked on this nut pretty good. So yeah, look at that. See that? Gross. Okay, now I can take a screwdriver, put it into the slot here, give it a bit of a tweak. See that? Everything's coming loose. It's coming loose like it's supposed to. Okay. Now we're just gonna wiggle this out. So here we go. Oh yeah. Clearly I cannot do two things with 2 hands. Okay, here we go. Alright, just lifting this straight up. looks like there's something holding it into place. There's a belt. There's a belt that's holding it into place. Gosh. Okay. You know what? Let's fix that belt problem. Okay, so I got it. This is what it looks like. Woohoo. Now, when I said that, when you seen me struggling with it, this was underneath the belt and this broke, so it's going to be replaced. But the reason why this was stuck is because when this went under there like that, I pulled it up, the belt was actually already fed inside here. So that meant this needed to come off first, and then this the entire cover comes off. But it looks like this was stuck, affixated onto there, and if I look very carefully at the edges of this, there's no glue anywhere, but there probably was on this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get some material and trace this out and then replace this gasket cover, this gasket material. It's not a big deal. But looking inside all the components in here, this is all new to me. I have never done a scooter before, but because I'm after the engine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off this belt, and then I'm going to go after this part. This entire arrangement I might not be too much after, but we are going to look at the engine part. So let me get this all organized. Okay, so I got this all stood up. Remember I was talking to you about spark plugs, on how the right spark plug can cause the piston to hit the end of this. So as it turns out, this is the correct spark plug according to the manufacturer's owner's manual. So this is the right one. What we're going to do is we're going to test the cylinder for compression with the compression checker. We're also going to test for spark on a spark plug. For those of you that do not know how this works, what you do, let's put your spark plug into there, right? Then you put this end over top of the spark plug. Then this end goes into the other boot, wherever the hell that is. Okay, I gotta find another boot. It was around here somewhere. Anyhow, and then now, because of the fact that this is an electric scooter, this here right part is the starter, the electric starter, which turns that gear, that small gear right there. That small gear turns to big gear, which makes this go round. This is a 2-lead, and that connects to right there. We're going to hook these two up to a battery charger, a variable battery charger, and that will instigate this to turn, which will cause this to have spark. We're going to get that all fired up right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to check for compression. I got my compression checker hooked up to the spark plug. It is nice and tight. We're going to spin this nut. Instead of going through the process hooking it up to a battery right there, we're going to hook up a drill with a nut that goes onto this and spins it. Okay? Now, according to the manufacturers, the compression should be between 90 to 100 psi. Okay? So we're going to put this in reverse because it spins this way, and we're going to check it. So here we go. Now we're going to look at that because that looks like it's an even 60. And if we continue to look at it, the needle is not dropping right away, but it's at 60. So what that tells me is that there's low compression in here for some reason. So now we're going to look at everything inside here, find out why that is. I was going to test the spark, but now we're not going to. So we're going to get this all off. So I'm going to take this part off here. I'm going to take this off. And that will be it for now. So after getting this off of the engine, off like that, this one here came off entirely, and that's just because this nut was glued onto here. It's probably just corroded onto there. But what I noticed is somebody tried to do this before because there's rounded edges on that nut. So when we look at the cylinder, look at that. There's hardly any carburation at all on that piston. And the cylinder walls look brand spanking new. We're going to take this off very slightly. Oh, look at that. Just a small little gasket here. Be very delicate with this. Okay, we're going to turn this a little bit so that way. This comes off nicely. Ooh, be careful. Don't jerk it off. Wow, I can't believe. Okay, I gotta put my phone down. You see, here we have the piston. And, you know, the more I look at this, I am unbelievably amazed. There is no carbonation at all whatsoever on it. That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Looking at the spark plug, we're gonna put this all the way in there. Your spark plug head should stick out exactly that much. And like I said, there are shafts of spark plugs with the same diameter that will stick out further, which will hit your piston. But this one is clean all the way around. Wow. There's just a little bit of rust. I had to take these out. There's there are nuts and bolts on the both ends. These ones, little bit of rust on them, but you know what? That is amazing. That piston is no wear and tear at all. And so I'm just feeling around on it. Let's look at the let's look in here. Wow, that is shiny. There's zero scratches. Okay, so this is the exhaust port. Ooh, okay. No, this is pretty good. I'm going to take this part off now. Alright, so continuing on with the engine rebuild, we got this off. After thinking about it, somebody has replaced this piston head. What they did was they took it off, kept the connecting rod, put a brand spanking new piston head on it, because that's the only explanation I can have for something that looks like this after 4,000 kilometers of being used. This part came off, and this would be the air intake, or the carburetor part that comes, and it goes on, oh yeah, it goes on upside down just like this. You see that? Right there. I don't think it matters if you put it in the other way, if you flip it around, because it looks like the holes line up the same. So yeah, so that's what this part looks like. This is where the air fuel comes in. This is where it comes into, which is the cylinder. Okay, so that goes into there like that. This part fits onto there like this. Okay, and this part connects to your carburetor. So carburetor here, gas and air into here, goes into your cylinder housing and creates ignition at this point here. So what I'm going to do, because of the fact that we have our battery, what that means is now we can connect to our starter, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the compression with the battery, because when I was doing it from here with the drill, we were only getting like 60. Maybe this starter turns the piston faster to create more compression. We're going to test that theory out. I'm just going to put this all together, and then we're going to do that. Okay, so we got everything all put back together. The cylinder head to our compression checker. We got the starter hot wired, so that way all it needs to do is just connect battery. Okay, so we're gonna connect this to right there, and then we're gonna do a reading. Okay, so I'm gonna connect this in 3, 2, 1. All right, so our reading is just less than 60. So what that tells me is that maybe 60 is what the compression is supposed to be on this after doing all of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it. I have a feeling that maybe there is a little gap in this between this head and this cover. So I'm gonna take this apart, clean everything around there a little bit better, and make that seal nice and tightly. Since the fact that I have 60 psi, then that means maybe there is something inside of here that is losing compression, and I'm gonna have a look at that more closely. If that is not the case, then I'm just going to put everything back together. Okay, so I decided to button everything back up. This here part, I have decided after tearing this apart and putting it back together, this here is the original part and this here is replaced. Remember how I was saying that the piston here would look brand new? So somebody went and put a brand new cylinder head on with the piston. So those are probably the only new things that somebody put on there besides the carburetor. Okay, so I cleaned everything up in here. I put the wheel back on. The cover, this is back on with a gasket material that I made up myself right here. It's the same material as what was already on there. The Kickstarter has been greased up inside here with the gears. And this here, just so you all know, is the oil pump. What I can do is I can take this out and I can look at that. This is the oil pump. This hooks up to... I don't exactly... I can't remember what this hooks up to, but I will have to look at the pictures back again. But yeah, the wheelbase has been cleaned out here. This is the nut and the bolts arrangement, and you know what? It looks just a little bit off. I don't know if this is the real nut that's supposed to be on there. I'm gonna have to look at the owner's manual and the parts manual to see if that is. Other than that, everything else has been cleaned up, put together properly. These nuts and bolts I'm going to replace because, as you can see, they're stripped. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Canadian Tire and get some actual hex head bolts to replace these with the same threads and the same length, because they will be a lot easier to take out when this cover needs to come off. And this is what will happen if you continue to use a screwdriver several times taking this cover off. They will destroy. So these will be replaced soon with the same type. And that will conclude the engine rebuild. This is all good to go. What we're going to do now is we're going to focus for the next day is the electrical and the body. So that will be a separate video for what, day 4? I think I'm on day 4 now. This is day 3 going into day 4. That is it.